Hello and welcome to Grid Vision, and we are excited, of course, to continue our coverage of the NIS, of course, NASCAR iRacing Series, and we're going to be at Richmond Raceway here tonight, the action track. And of course, we do want to once again apologize for not being here last week at Pocono. We had some stuff come up. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. Austin Edstrom is my co-commentator here tonight. Of course, Austin Derbyshire down behind the cameras. What are you thinking, Austin? I mean, have you had any experience here so far at Richmond this week?
Yeah, I ran an A-Open earlier today, and we're going to see a lot of bumping today, especially on the restarts. Turns 1 and 2 are just so tight, and then everybody comes off just about 2 wide. Some people dipping 3 wide down to the bottom, and it just really causes for a lot of issues going into turn 3 and back to the front stretch. You know, coming off of turn 2 and turn 4 here, you got to have a lot of wheel into it in the middle of the corner, and coming off the corner, you can just get really pushed loose. I know I've been saying that a lot on a lot of the broadcasts, but that seems to be a pretty common issue with the next-gen car here, so I'm expecting to see, honestly, a lot of accidents, a lot of near misses, and I'm ready for it.
100%. I think this is definitely going to be possibly a long race. I think we could see possibly a lot of cautions. Of course, we did see a track map up there. This is a 3/4 of a mile racetrack, 200 laps set to happen here today. Of course, 124 degrees is the track temp. 5 sets of tires actually going to be down in the pits, I do believe. Fuel window, I don't think fuel's really going to be much of a concern at all. 128 laps is what I do believe the estimated is at the moment. Let's take a quick look at the iRacing, or should I say NIS points at the moment for Division 1. Actually, all, I do believe. Nicholas Broman at the top of the board with 4,986 points. Of course, Garrett Maines only 1 point behind him here. Chris Wilhite is in 3rd place. Joseph is in 4th. Joshua Watson in 5th place. Alex Murray in 6th. Ryan Carwile in 7th. 8th place, Matt Hollibaugh, I do believe. 9th place, Justin Levine. 10th, Andrew Kotska, I do believe that's how you say his name. Of course, 11th place, Andrew Miller. 12th, Maurice Glazer. So that is the look at the top 12 at the moment in the points here for NIS. And you talk about, you know, difficulties on the racetrack. I think what's going to be difficult here is getting a throttle application. It's hot, it's slick. Getting back to the gas is going to be somewhat difficult here.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to be really easy on the throttle. You really can't just gas it up 100%, especially coming off of turn 2. It gets so tight, and you're really trying to get a wide entry into that corner, especially longer in the run, so you can get a very straight exit off. Kind of similar to turn 2 at New Hampshire. You'll have about the same issue with the bump coming off the corner on the high side. And, you know, I said that we're going to get a lot of cautions, a lot of wrecks, but once the field does get spread out, I mean, it kind of just becomes a strategy race, and it becomes a little bit harder to get that caution if we get to that spread out instance. So, you know, you mentioned the fuel mileage issue. Like you said, it's probably not going to be an issue. I think it's really just going to be tires, because if you come down about halfway through that stint on tires, you're going to make up the time that you lost on pit road just from the new tires. So I really think that it could turn into a strategy race if we get a long green flag run, depending on how people want to split it, whether it be a 1-stop or a 2-stop.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, of course, guys out here with different various setup shops being represented here in the NIS competition. Let's take a quick look at the schedule. And of course, this is actually a sneak peek at next week. Of course, this Sunday we're going to be about 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Global Racing Truck Series is going to be at Richmond, but of course on Tuesday we're going to be going Champion Power Equipment Truck Series racing at Martinsville. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, following on Wednesday, it'll be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Thunderclap iRacing Series presented by TLC. That's a star-studded cast of people right there in that series. Going to be at, I believe, Dover Motor Speedway, and I know one of the drivers in there, Ryan Truex, has won there in real life, so I expect he's going to be a force to be reckoned with there. Of course, Friday, back in NIS competition, going to be at Michigan. Now, I love Michigan. That is an exciting 2-mile racetrack. Can't wait to see what that looks like. Of course, Global Racing Truck Series can be back in action at Michigan as well on Sunday. And, of course, you see Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, we do have openings for broadcasts. If you're looking to have your league covered, definitely reach out to us. Of course, we actually have, I do believe, down in the description, our Discord and also our social media, so you're welcome to reach out to us. Looks like we have about 30 seconds remaining here in qualifying. At the moment, Alex Murray is at the top of the board with a 22.597. Very close, though, I'd say, in the top 5. All those guys in the 22.6s.
Yeah, the top three separated by about 100th of a second. That's not much. That's just going to go to show how just on top of each other everybody's going to be, especially at the beginning of this race. I mean, you really need to get everything you can on the restarts and then settle in and try to save tires. You know, if you get that long run, you absolutely need to save your tires at the beginning. It's just the matter of whether we're going to get it or not.
100%, and you see how just on top of it, you know, everybody's really quick. Everybody's really equal this week, I'd say, when it comes to the setup shops and the different teams. I do want to say that this is a 4,600 strength of field race. They're definitely very competitive. So we have the starting grid ready for us here. Alex Murray going to be starting up on the pole. Outside pole going to belong to Daniel Nanny. Third place, Nicholas Broman. Fourth place, Chris Wilhite. Fifth place, Paul Bergoli. Sixth place, Anthony Federico. Seventh, Joseph. Eighth place, Joshua Watson. Of course, ninth place, Jacob Schneider. And rounding out the top 10 is Brian Young.
In 11th place, we've got Miller Bonds. 12th place, Johnny Baldridge. 13th, Ty Ippolito. 14th, Matt White. 15th, Cody Richardson. 16th, Michael McLean. 17th, Sam Devantier. 18th, Toga Hisada. 19th, Jose Acosta. And 20th, Adrian Watts.
Better you than me. I would have messed those names up. The 21st, Jeff Shutt. 22nd, Keith Bridgman. 23rd, Jason Wallet, I do believe. 24th, Sean Rogers. 25th, Lawrence Shaughnessy. 26th, Brian LaPrade. 27th, Maggie McGuire. 28th, Alan Pajari. 29th, Hunter Wofford. 30th, Drew Blaze. And rounding out this 32-car field is, I do believe, Justin Kleiber and Brian Traeger. That is all 32 cars front to back as we get ready to start this 200-lap showdown here. 200 laps doesn't, it actually is going to be, I think, a long race. I mean, we're going to see how these guys are able to handle it. I think a lot of these drivers are going to be very, very competitive and maybe aggressive as well. This is a track that it takes aggression a lot of times to make passes. I mean, we talk about how getting back to the gas gradually is a kind of a feature that you have to be able to do, or, you know, something you have to be able to master at a track like this. But when you're trying to pass on the inside, a lot of times when you're trying to get back to that throttle, you slide up, and that's where I think a lot of incidents could end up possibly happening. And also loose on entry could be something we see a lot as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great prediction. You know, going to what you were saying about the throttle application on exit of the corner, you know, it's really important to save that right rear, but most tracks, I would say it's more important to save the right rear. This track, the right front is so important getting into every corner. It is so hard to get your car around the center of the corner in this and be able to, like, come off the corner straight. So if you wear that right front tire out in the first 10, 15 laps of the run, you're going to be struggling through the center of the corner for the rest of the race.
Now, of course, because this is a short track, we do have two pace lamps. So while we have that moment, I do want to also mention that we are looking for sponsors for the NIS race here. So if you are possibly looking to maybe sponsor our green flag, our cautions, or possibly our white flag, or even our winning moment checkered flag, make sure you look in, like I said, the description below. You can find actually our Discord and also our social media to reach out to us, and maybe we can work out a deal. We'd love to have you on our broadcast. And definitely very good, I'd say, representation to anybody that is a sim racer. If they see you, they might, that brand recognition might see you get you some business. You never know.
I think we're in for a good race here. 200 laps, long race. We've got a great field here. Honestly, one of the smaller fields you can have at NIS, which I think is going to lend itself well to the field. Might have a few less cautions, but we're going for the green flag here.
Yeah, here we go. Pace car has dipped down pit road, and there it is. Green flag for the first time here in the NIS competition. Already 3 wide. As we see, I do believe Joseph takes it on the inside of Paul Olson. He's going to move up to 5th place. Anthony Federico also moves up to 6th. So it looks like Paul Olson's going to, or Paul Bergoli, I should say, not Olson. He falls back to now 7th. Apologize, I know a Paul Olson. It got me confused seeing Paul. Almost 4 wide, though, here, man. Look at this.
Yeah, already we've got contact all the way throughout the field. We saw our outside pole center there, Daniel Nanny, get into the wall outside of 3 wide coming off of turn 2. No harm, no foul. He's not going to have any damage to that car, but, you know, they just got put 3 wide right off the beginning by Nicholas Roman there, and he's already to the lead and pulling out a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, this is not a surprise. Roman, of course, has been very talented. He is the points leader at the moment, only by 1 point. And one thing about it is Garrett Maines, who is second place in points, not in competition here this evening. So sad to kind of see that, as we see, of course, I do believe, a battle between Joshua Watson, I do believe, and I do believe Chris Wilhite. Now Wilhite up on the top side. You see Watson is on the on the bottom in 6th place there. A line of cars behind him, side by side as well. Paul Bergoli, I do believe, battling with Anthony Federico at the moment.
Yeah, we see a ton of Ryko cars up front, or Ryko-affiliated cars up front, and I mean, they've been fast all week, winning just about every race. The one race that I was in, Nicholas Froman stomped the field. I want to say he led every single lap, so I think we're going to see mostly Ryko cars up towards the front of the field. But it'll be interesting to see if we can get one of those long green flag runs to see if some strategy play kind of gets thrown into it and see if that can bring any of the other challengers up to the front of the field.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, Paul Bergoli, he's in the 7. You see a car that's on the inside of him actually is bearing a 7 as well. That is actually not the 7. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think that is Anthony Federico in the 8. So custom numbers. The bane of our existence as broadcasters, especially for the NIS race. So just keep in mind that some of the numbers might not actually line up with what they actually are.
Yeah, it's always a little bit frustrating, but honestly, I love it as a racer. I love having to, or being able to put my own number on the side of the door. But yeah, going up to the broadcast booth and you say number 7, and then there's like 5 number 7s in the racing.
That's right.
It becomes a little difficult. And so there's a couple of those numbers out there that are just a little bit more popular than others. So we might have a couple, little hiccups on that, but we'll try to do our best to keep it nice and clean for the viewers at home.
That's all we can do. Battle right now for, of course, that 3rd place position. Alex Murray trying to fight with Joseph. Of course, Alex Murray right now rocking the 22 custom number. He's actually the 4 in competition. Of course, I do believe he is going to get clear, possibly of Joseph. Joseph almost able to slide up, and he does. He gets clear. Now up to 3rd. I know Alex Murray. I've known him for actually quite a long time. Very talented driver. He's been one that always just improves every time you see him out on the racetrack, and just usually doesn't put a tire right, or tire wrong, I should say.
Oh man, I was about to tire right. Man, he's wrecking all the time. But no, I'm in about the same boat as you. I've ran a lot of races here with Alex Murray, and had a lot of good spirited battles for the lead or second, somewhere in the top 5 with him. And he's a tough cookie to pass, and he really held off Joseph Squared there. That's what I'm going to call him from now on, Joseph Squared. He's got a 2 in his name at the end of the iRacing name too. So we're just going to go with Joseph Squared here for that blue Ryko car sitting there in 4th place. But we have a side-by-side battle.
Yeah, I was getting ready to actually talk about it. I do believe a battle for 10th right now. Johnny Baldridge and Miller Bonds. And it looks like Johnny Baldridge with some issues in the 17. And he is going to be following through the field quite substantially. He is dropping like a rock right now, still losing positions outside of the top 20 now, I do believe. Take a look back at the replay.
Miller Bonds just missed the bottom of the corner going into turn 3. They're going to go down the backstretch here on this replay coming out, but you're going to see Miller Bonds just completely miss the bottom, and Johnny Baldridge honestly did nothing wrong, and it really sucks to get punted from about 10th place early in the race. Yeah, you see he just locked up a little bit with that left front, slid up the track. Johnny did a great job holding on to that, not bringing out a caution, not tearing up his tires, but he still gets the penalty of going all the way back to 27th, even though he didn't.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate for him. And, of course, he actually is in the 10. It does say 17 on that race car. Oh, he's still having issues. As we look back, you saw, I do believe, the 21 Hunter Wolford got up into his right side as well. So he is just a bad night. It's getting worse here for him. And as he continues to try to battle his way back through the field, he's going to be hoping for a caution. We're on lap 12. Surprised at how clean, relatively clean, I should say, the beginnings of this race are. We definitely have all the hallmarks of a green race.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too, but all it takes is really that one caution, and then, it could just spark off at the wrong time. And especially if it's towards the end of the race, people lose their minds at the end of these things, especially going into these tight braking zones, hard braking zones. And I mean, we saw earlier going into turn 3, it's so easy to lock up. I was doing it over and over in the one race I ran this week. It's just kind of a tough corner to get absolutely perfectly right, especially whenever you've got somebody on your door. But you do expect somebody on like lap 10 of an event like this to maybe be a little bit nicer to you. So I really hate that for Johnny, but it is early in the race, so he's got plenty of time to make up those lost positions.
Yeah, I mean, this is a long race, 200 laps. I mean, of course, I do believe 150 miles, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, a lot of things can change. A lot of things can go wrong. I mean, if he gets on the right strategy, he could definitely find himself back up towards the front. So I do suspect that could be the case, for him. So we definitely are wishing the best. Hopefully he gets back into it and don't give up. I mean, like you said, he didn't bring out a caution. He could have easily done that. Oh, we got a problem as we got someone around in the middle of the field here. I believe that is Matt White in the 26. And that is going to bring out our first caution of the night on lap 16. And Matt White goes around. I do believe he hit the outside wall. We're going to probably take a look back at this. Of course, I love that paint scheme. Very patriotic. But unfortunately, that patriotic scheme is going to be up into the wall. It looks like he got turned.
Yeah, we're going to see a near replay of what happened to Johnny Baldridge here. Yeah, he just kind of got drove into the left rear quarter panel going into the corner. Honestly, kind of a dive bomb there from, I think it was Ippolito. I'm not 100% certain. No, it's Michael McLean, actually. Yeah, that's just it's too risky this early in the race to peek out and just dive like that. I mean, Matt kind of came down a little bit early. You know, Michael did show his nose, so maybe there's a little bit of blame to go both ways, but I don't know. Getting hit in the left rear quarter panel on lap 16 is, I mean, it's never fun. I can tell you that.
Well, I think both of them are kind of just both paid for their aggression in a lot of ways. Matt paid, I think, the more bigger price. I think he was coming down to kind of block that run from Michael McLean. I think Michael McLean was also being a little bit of aggressive. Both of those guys, I think, are partially at fault. But like I said, Matt White is going to pay the biggest price. He comes down pit road. He's going to fall all the way to the rear of the field. And, of course, that brings down to, as I mentioned, our first caution. Let's take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back with the green flag here.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of NIS. Of course, the green flag back out here in the air as we have our first restart of the night here in NIS competition. Very good start for Nicholas Vroman. You also see Daniel Nanny able to get clear and down to the bottom. Side by side, though, is Alex Murray and Joseph. Riker right now holding the top 5. Definitely very good performance so far from them. We do believe we see some battling Jacob Schneider and Joshua Watson side by side there, I do believe, for that 6th place position.
I know I'm about to jinx it, but I would really like to commend the field for being able to get off of turn 2 so nice. You can kind of see the bottom line. Just about everybody in the bottom line was giving plenty of space to the guys up top. Guys up top, plenty of space to the guys in the bottom. So everybody's doing a good job so far. I kind of want to point out 11th place, Briar LaPrade. He started 26. He's already more than halved his starting position. And I think he was in 13th at the time of the caution, so it took him 15 laps to exactly half his starting position. Now making a pass for 10th there on the outside of Young. That's Brian Young in the 17 there. He's doing a great job moving up through the field. Obviously, he's a great driver. I think most of the people in the service know who Briar LaPrade is, but nonetheless, it's still a top split NIS race on a Friday night. To be able to move from 26 to the top 10 in 20 laps, that's mega impressive.
Yeah, it is, very much so. I mean, it's not the easiest track to pass at, and for him to, move through pretty much half the field is very impressive, as he has now moved his way up into the top 10. Still side by side with Brian Young. Not anymore, though. Now he's going to set his sights on Paul Bergoli. I also do want to mention we did see some guys that decided to take, I do believe, a pit stop during that caution. So some strategy calls at the rear of the field. I like that, what we're seeing. Not seeing a ton of fall off, though. About a 4/10 of a second, maybe even 2 or 3/10 fall off right now. So we'll have to see how that kind of develops as we're 24 laps into the event at the moment. Some side-by-side battle. No, I do believe Miller Bonds was involved in an accident a little bit earlier. Now side-by-side, getting challenged, I do believe, by Michael McLean. Michael McLean to the inside. He's going to be trying to work his way up to the 12th place position.
Yeah, Miller Bonds has been having a really hard time getting into turn 3 there on the bottom. This is the second time we've seen him miss it already. You know, once we had a little bit of an issue where he just about turned Johnny Baldridge. But yeah, going back to what you said about people pitting, you know, with the amount of tire sets that we have, you want to make it about 33 laps on every set of tires. So everybody that just pitted is absolutely hoping this thing goes for a decent green flag run. They'll be able to pick off a lot of the guys towards the back of the pack that don't have tires. And then if we can get to lap 60, 70, they'll be able to kind of recycle back onto the same strategy as everybody else. They will have that one less set of tires, but it would still keep them on strategy for the rest of the race.
We saw a little bit of a battle there for that 6th place position. Joshua Watson was challenging Jacob Schneider, was not able to make the pass stick, got loose off the corner, and now is under fire from Anthony Federico. Federico, into the rear end of Watson a little bit loose off of turn 2. And here comes, I do believe, Briar LaPrade. We were just talking about him. He is continuing to make passes. These guys bobble and make a mistake. He's there to, I'm telling you, he's there to really just bite the bait off the hook. Take it.
Yeah, he's just painting that yellow line so good in 3 and 4. Even in 1 and 2, he's getting down there pretty early and just absolutely rotating the car through the center of the corner with no throttle and coming off really clean. He's got a side-by-side battle in front of him, so there's not necessarily anything that he can do in this exact moment. But if they just get a little bit of contact or they slow each other up a little bit through the middle of the corner, the way the Briar's running through the bottom side of the line there, through the corner, would absolutely help him pick off a position coming off.
And also a little bit further back, the battle is still on between Michael McLean and Miller Bonds. These guys have not stopped battling as Miller Bonds crosses him back over to the inside for the 12th place position. I'd watch for this possibly to be the sign of a caution. Both of these drivers were involved in accidents tonight. We're only on lap 29.
Yeah, I'd be a little nervous if I was the 15 of Jose Acosta behind him. You know, you kind of see the two who, I hate to say this, but have kind of proven themselves to be the wrecking balls in the early part of this race. If they're battling side by side and switch position over and over, that's a scary sight to see. So you see Jose get under Michael McLean here. He really wants to just get in between them so that he can separate the danger on both sides of them.
100%, and if I recall correctly, I remember Jose very quick here as of late. I mean, you know, a relative newcomer, I'd say, to top split NIS, and has really shown a lot of improvement. And he is an aggressive driver in his own right. I've actually seen him in league competition. But, you know, definitely been very impressed with him. He's got a lot of potential, a lot of speed. He's definitely got, I'd say, the will and desire to get better.
Yeah, he's taking me out for a win at Charlotte earlier this year, so I don't have too many nice things to say about Jose, but I'm going to try to remain unbiased throughout the commentary. But he's doing great. He's moved up a couple positions here since the restart. He's gone from 19th to 13th since the beginning of the race. So I've only got good things to say about him so far, +6 on the night.
I'll tell you who can only say good things about it. Nicholas Brogan down to now over a half a second on Daniel Nanny. He's been turning pretty much the fastest laps of the race every time by, or should I say the fastest laps at the moment. Of course, we do see some side-by-side battling. I do believe a little bit further back here. If I'm not mistaken, that is the 22 of Cody Richardson. Battling at the moment, a little bit of a stack up. And the more you battle side by side at a track like this, I mean, you could probably speak on this, the more it brings that accordion effect where everybody kind of gets stuck behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can just see from the battle we're watching right now, right? They've got a second gap to the people in front of them because they're battling so hard. And that was a couple positions who were just switching over and over and over with McLean and Acosta and Bonds. Those are the guys right in front of them, and they've already gapped them by a second, even though they were battling so hard just a few laps ago.
Looks like Adrian Watts clear for that 16th position. Of course, Ty Ippolito up into 15. Oh, he gets tight on the exit of 2. Almost gets up to the wall, has to get out of the throttle. And that's going to allow Adrian Watts to go to the inside. Adrian Watts, another one that is definitely not a driver that you want to sleep on, that's for sure. Now up into the top 15. Looks like Ty Ippolito definitely struggling. A little bit of tire smoke as the 22 of Cody Richardson, I do believe, locks up the tires. 3 wide contact. This could be the side of a caution here. It's 22. Oh, yeah, definitely going to be the side of a caution as the yellow flag is out.
I believe that was Lawrence Shaughnessy that went to the inside wall there. He had absolutely nothing to do with that. Not his fault at all, just an innocent bystander to people just bouncing off of each other's doors in front of him.
100%.
Kind of a heartbreak from him early, but, you know, as you were talking about with Adrian Watts, you know, if you got if any of these cars have a Ryko signal on the side of them, or a Ryko decal on the side of them, you can't sleep on them. If you're sleeping on any of the Ryko cars, you
make a mistake. Yeah. Also, it looks like Togo Hisada, I do believe, was involved in this as well, and he falls back to do 32nd positions. We're going to take a look back at the replay here. You see the 22 Cody Richardson struggling off the corner, contact, just was slowed up, and I do believe, unfortunately, that is, I do believe, Togo right there that hit the rear end of the 22, and then you see secondary contact between the 30 and the 16.
Yeah, and that caution is not what people like. I believe it was Matt White, who is the leader of the people that came down to pit earlier. You know, he's gonna, I believe, yeah, he cycled to the lead, but he's the only one that stayed out. So he's gonna be a sitting duck. He needed that thing to run green. He had just passed the people that, you know, wrecked. He passed them in that corner. And so he was doing a great job moving through the field, had just gotten back into the top 20 after he had been wrecked earlier. So it's just kind of compounding on Matt White here, because he's going to go backwards on this restart. There's nothing he can really do about it.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to kind of gamble. You know, he knows that, you know, he wants to try to get back, I'd say, on the normal strategy, and is having to stay out this time by as a result. And everyone behind him, even if he was on, I think, the same level of tires, I think he still would struggle here. Just, I mean, considering looking at his pace versus a driver like Nicholas Broman, I mean, he's about 0.2 or so slower than a driver like Broman, and you know that could cause, especially with the tire wear, he's going to be about 2 or 3 tenths off the pace anyway. So that's about a half a second or so off the pace compared to the drivers are behind him. That could be a significant obstacle that leads to more cautions.
Yeah, this is going to end up being damage mitigation for Matt, right? I think he was running about 18th to 20th before the caution. If we can somehow get a big enough run to where everybody needs to pit again, and he's running in the top 15 by the time the caution comes out, he's absolutely done his job, right? That's really what he's looking for. He's obviously not going to hold on to the lead. He's not going to hold on to the top 5. There's too many good Ryko cars in here. He's a Ryko car as well, right? He's got the little Ryko sticker on the back bumper. But just with the older tires, you're not going to be able to hold off all the other Ryko cars. And there's a couple other people in here that have a really good chance to kind of leapfrog him in this cycle.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know Matt White was on Ryko. I remember he was on a different team at some point, so it seems like some things have changed.
I believe he is on a different team. I think that it is one of their subsidiaries, like kind of an alliance with somebody.
Yeah, definitely been very, very fast this week. That's for sure. Look forward to seeing what they can do here. Can Nicholas Roman keep up his, you know, his momentum? He's been just so good every week. As the pace car is now down pit road, green flag back out once again, and really good start there from Matt White. Really good jump, caught everybody kind of sleeping there. This is going to be a big opportunity, I think, for Daniel Nanny to possibly take over second and maybe even the lead. But if he gets stuck behind Matt White, it just depends on when I think these guys catch him.
We had a couple people just about pound the turn 2 fence down on the exit, but Matt White holding strong. You know, he had a great restart, like you mentioned. Broman really just did not get going at all, but he's got a great run off of turn 4 here. If he can get to the outside of Matt before Daniel can make it 3 wide, then yep, Nicholas Roman's going to take the lead back with relative ease here.
And you see Nanny goes right, as soon as he gets clear of Roman, he goes right and follows right in his tire tracks. See Alex Murray, he's going to get held up a little bit, man. By Matt White, he's slowed up. He's going to try to jump up in front of, I do believe, Joseph. Also, Briar LaPrade, we've been talking about him. He is now up to the 6th place position. So watch for that 2 car. I think he's going to come up here and start maybe making a little bit of ruckus, but unfortunately caught behind Matt White. White gets loose off of turn 2, and he is going to lose a myriad of positions. He does say good save on him. He only fell back right now, I do believe, to 11th place. Oh, big loose condition from the 17 of Brian Young. This could be a caution as he is actually off the racing surface, though. Oh, man, that could have easily been a caution. He is going to fall all the way back to last, though.
That's a good save for Brian Young. That's the absolute last thing Matt White wanted to see, though, him getting loose off of turn 2 and losing a big chunk of spots. Like I said, he really wants to hold on to a top 15, top 20 to cycle back to where he was before the kind of weird shuffling of strategies. So, I mean, just about worst case scenario for Matt. As he's also getting passed by Miller Bonds here as we watch the replay of the 17 going around.
Yeah, I think Brian Young, I think he just got onto the gas a little bit too hard. That's one of the hardest places right there. I mean, turn 2, of course, you're more at risk of hitting the wall. I think turn 3, or turn 4, I should say, you're more at risk of getting loose when you're trying to get back to the throttle.
Sorry, something just fell off my wall.
Well, that's not good.
All right, I'm
Of
good.
course,
I'm back.
Adrian Watts actually, I do believe, trying to make something happen. If I'm not mistaken, on Ty Ippolito. Back here for that, I do believe, 14th position. Of course, they follow right behind Matt White. Alex Murray starting to put some pressure on Daniel Nanny at the moment. As we still see that side-by-side battling going on further back in the pack as Adrian Watts and Ty Ippolito fight for the 14th position. Side-by-side though for second. Oh, there goes Alex Murray, almost spins it. And he hangs on, but contact between Daniel Nanny and Alex Murray for second place. Now Murray under fire from the two of Briar LaPrade. And of course, LaPrade trying to get up to the podium for the first time. It looks like he is going to be successful. Now here comes Chris Wilhite. Can he get by the 22, or should I say the 4 of Alex Murray?
It was just the same issue we've been seeing people make all day. He just drives in a little bit too deep, trying to get under the guy in front of him. He had gotten position on him, so he had the right to the space, but he just outbraked himself just a little bit too much and slid up the corner. Did a great job saving it. Only lost 1 spot. No harm, no foul. He's still in line 4th place, and with the way Briar LaPrade's been running, I mean, he's from 26th to 3rd. Alex Murray was probably going to lose that position anyway at some point. So, you know, like I said, no harm, no foul. Alex Murray's still straight, and Daniel Nanny's still straight.
Yeah, looking at lap times right now, Briar LaPrade 23.047 last time by, the fastest lap on the racetrack at the moment, and he's showing a lot of pace. I actually marked that or strike that. Alex Murray was the fastest lap last time by 23.016. So I think Alex Murray probably has a pretty good motivator to get back up to that 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately for Matt White, he's now falling back to 15th, about to lose another spot, going back to 16th. You know, we were mentioning him earlier, just trying to keep an eye on his, well, not progress, but just his descent through the field on the old tires. But somebody who has made progress since his early incident, the 10 car, it says 17 right here, of Johnny Baldridge. I mean, he had that spin, went to about 4th or 5th from the back, and has climbed his way back up into the top 20, riding 18th right now, and certainly going to get another spot here from Matt White here in a couple of laps.
Yeah, Baldridge definitely working his way forward. These cautions have definitely helped him out quite a bit. Right behind him, I do believe we see Michael McLean and I do believe Hunter Wolford battling for the 19th position. So yeah, definitely I think this 10 is going to possibly get by Matt White and continue to work his way forward. But definitely a lot of racing going on the racetrack now. Over 50 laps completed, 53 to be exact. And it's definitely been a fantastic race thus far. Very much exciting. We appreciate everybody out there tuning in. For sure, if of course you just found us here on Grid Vision, make sure you like and subscribe. We are trying to cover this series every Friday. Definitely appreciate your support.
Daniel Nanny is doing a great job of keeping up with Nicholas Roman. He's still got his car position in front of Briar LaPrade here, not really giving Briar any opportunities. Briar's trying to get that left front just under Daniel Nanny going into turn 3, make sure he gets some air on that left front of his nose to keep the car turning and rotating through the center of the corner. And he just drives it up off the corner, super easy, letting the car go where it needs to go. And I mean, he's still running them down, but Daniel's done a great job holding them off so far.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Now, I mean, I'm surprised to see these guys. I know they're all, for the most part, like you said, Ryko affiliates, and they're all racing each other like they're not on the same team, and they race each other very hard. And maybe, I don't know if that's maybe because they trust each other a lot more. What do you think?
I think it's a couple things, right? Most of the Ryko guys are extremely talented regardless, right? They're great race car drivers. A setup can only make you go so fast, right? A slow driver cannot drive a fast setup fast. That's just how it is. So most of these guys have a certain level of talent to even be on the team or affiliated with the team. And I think a bigger thing about how we're seeing them race each other so hard is the fact that Richmond is such a tough track to pass. I mean, we've seen people dive late into turn 3 multiple times. I got dive bombed multiple times earlier in my A Open, and I was getting so frustrated. And it's just, that's kind of what you have to do to pass at this track. You get a little bit better of a run off of turn 2 from the guy in front of you. And even if you're not all the way inside of them, you just kind of put your nose there and hope you don't hit them going into the
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the key. I mean, you have to kind of make bold moves. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself not moving anywhere. And I think that's the whole point of why these guys are so aggressive when it comes to trying to make passes. Of course, we're starting to see a lot of spreading out here, as we do have, seems like a pretty good long run, possibly, as we see, I do believe another guy that's trying to recover here. I believe that is Lawrence Shaughnessy in that 25th position, trying to work his way forward. Of course, he was involved in an accident earlier. And I do believe he has some damage, but it looks like that car is still running. If the car is still running, you still have a chance.
Yeah, I want to say he got all of his damage fixed, because whenever he got wrecked, I definitely looked at his front left, and there was a big crack in it, and you know that crack's completely gone. So I think that he's done the smart thing and got all of his damage fixed right off the bat, so that he'll be able to kind of make a charge through the field at some point. So I mean, you could look for Lawrence Shaughnessy to really work his way up to the top 10 at some point. I kind of want to highlight Paul Bergoli. He's fallen back from 5th to 10th at the start of this race, but Paul's just kind of the racer that, he ticks off the laps, doesn't really make the mistakes, and by the end of the race, he's going to be right up there. Maybe not challenging for the lead, because I think the Ryko cars are just kind of have everybody covered this week, but I could see Paul Bergoli fighting a couple of them for a top 5 by the end of this race.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, Paul is
Lawrence Shaughnessy's going around on the exit of turn 2. We were just talking about him. Caution's out for Lawrence again. He just got to the inside. Who was that? Jeff Shutt in front of him. He got to the inside of Jeff Shutt on the entrance of the corner. We're going to see here is a little bit of a dive. Maybe Jeff was a little bit slow through the center, but Jeff ended up coming down on him after Lawrence got to his inside. It kind of met in the middle, and it's just kind of a lazy spin after that. It's going to end up being no harm, no foul like earlier. Probably only lost about 5 positions. Those tires probably aren't killed either from that, but someone who really, really, really needed that was Matt White. He was dropping like a rock. He is all the way back to 22nd place after restarting on the front row in first place. So Matt White probably going to be able to get back on cycle with the rest of the leaders here.
Yeah, definitely be a good thing for sure. Of course, Lawrence, I mean, just a bad night getting worse for him. I mean, even though that didn't cause a lot of damage to that race car, I think that the reason the accident happened in the first place is probably because he was already frustrated. And I think that's just going to continue to make Lawrence even more and more frustrated. And when you're at a track like Richmond, that's not something you need. Any sort of frustration, stress is going to make you make even more mistakes. That's one thing about tracks like this. You have to be focused. You have to be in the right mindset. I mean, this track requires, especially like we're talking about, getting back to the throttle, and how it's not an on and off switch at a racetrack like this. Well, if you're not focused, you're not going to have the, I'd say the ability to discern how you should get on these on the gas pedal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a tough call too. Like, there's just not much room at this racetrack. It's hard to place blame in a lot of these incidents. It's just 2 people going for the same bit of real estate. Something I'm very interested in, though, on this pit cycle, about half the field stayed out and about half the field pitted. So we're going to see kind of some mixed tire strategies here probably throughout the rest of the race. If we can get that long green flag run, everybody that just pitted is just banking on there to finally be that long run that goes 50, 60, 70 laps. And if it does, they're going to be able to run down a lot of these guys up front, because I think that was about a 20-lap run right there. That's a lot of laps on tires.
Yeah, for sure. And interesting, I mean, Alex Murray, he was the one that, of course, had an issue to where he fell, I do believe, outside of the top 3. And he decided to take tires. Of course, Paul Bergoli as well. So some other drivers, that have really decided to take that risk. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, I know that, yeah, new tires are going to be great. That you're going to have a lot more maneuverability. But then again, I mean, I don't want to be behind a lot of people. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to have to dodge the crash. I'd rather be in front of the crash, right?
Yeah, and with so many people being on different strategies, I think we're still on the replay on the main broadcast, but with so many people on different strategies, it really kind of comes into play here in a couple, just on the restart here in a couple laps. We're going to see a lot of people who just put on tires that are at the back really push really, really hard to get past as many of these old tire guys as they can as soon as possible. If you can clear 3 or 4 on the restart, that's just 3 or 4 less that you have to pass once it gets spread out. So it's just a big advantage if you can, be the first one on new tires, especially about 5 laps after the restart.
I think the first person on new tires at the moment, I think, is Alex Murray, I do believe. So it's gonna be big for him. He's in 15th right now. everyone ahead of them is on older tires. It's going to be difficult, though, I think, to make passes. I mean, especially if we saw even, Briar LaPrade, he was, there was guys side by side in front of him. He was much faster than them, but he was not able to really do anything. So we'll have to see how that kind of works out. I think it's going to be a game of chess in a lot of ways for Alex Murray to kind of work his way through this field and have to run the different lines.
I like the call. I like the call from Alex Murray. He knew he wasn't going to win this race against Nicholas Roman and Briar LaPrade. This is a big brain strategy call for him to possibly win the race if it runs how he needs to be. As Nicholas Roman gets another great restart. Every time he's been up there, he's had a great start, and he just easily clears everybody down in the turn.
I mean, this is why he's the points leader. I mean, he definitely, I think he's got a very good chance of winning this race. Even when you think he's not going to win the race, he still somehow manages to do it. As it looks like the top four have single file out. Of course, Chris Woolhite still trying to...
Oh, they're wrecking Alex Murray's in it! Alex Murray's in it! I was just commending him for the strategy, but they spin right in front of him, and he's got major left front damage. Oh, no, Alex.
Unfortunately, I hate to say I told you so. I mean, but then again, it's a 50% chance. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that's the nature of racing. You make a decision, and a lot of times, it could go your way or it might not go your way. I think that's just the nature of racing. And
it's the same two people that the first incident was, but it's just reversed. Johnny Baldridge got to the corner a little too hard, hit Miller Bonds. Miller just about had it saved, but then just turns it back across the racetrack and collects a ton of the field. I mean, that's so heartbreaking for so many of the people that just put on tires. Obviously, we mentioned Alex Murray. That's the absolute last thing he needed. If that runs green, he has a great chance, but now he's going to be at the absolute rear of the field and having to get damage.
100%. And trying to, big hit. Also, Paul Vergulli, I think, got a little bit of it, but look at who is that right there. Do you believe that is the 76? Of course, not actually the 76.
I'm going to take a look at Paul Vergulli here. I was talking a big game for him earlier, thinking he could do well. Yeah, it looks like he's gotten away scot-free, no damage. He did get a little contact on the right front, but nothing major. So Paul's not completely out of this yet, and I believe he was one of the people that put on tires too. So maybe still look for Paul to make some hay here towards the, I don't know. I mean, everybody that put on tires that wasn't involved in that accident, that really doesn't do anything negative for him. The caution was so quick that nobody that didn't put on tires is going to come back to put on tires right now. So I don't necessarily think that's a net negative for anybody that put on tires unless they were in the accident.
100%. I saw one of the guys that got involved with it with Alex Murray was a 76 custom number. I'm trying to figure out who exactly that was. So not exactly sure. Of course, Alex Murray, I think, paying the pretty much ultimate price there in that accident, as we're on lap now 70 of 200. Of course, Nicholas Roman, I do believe, still out front there. Of course, he has led the most laps, I'd say, all night long. Briar LaPrade, though, is up in second place. How does he do from the outside row?
Well, I think Briar's got the best chance to give Nicholas a run for his money towards the end of this race, and maybe even a couple laps after the restart. But I really just think the leader has such an advantage on these restarts. I said Nicholas got really, really good restarts the whole time. I suppose he did have the one poor one, and that's whenever he was restarting second, and that was against a guy on old tires with Matt White, and he got a terrible restart and actually got put side by side with the third place driver. So I really just think the guy on the outside, unless they just time it perfect and just, I don't know, guess perfectly, they're not going to have anything for the leader right off the bat on a restart. What Briar's really going to want to do here is get a straight exit off of turn 2, have the momentum carry him past P3, and then maybe be able to make a dive into turn 3.
And also, we see all these Ryko logos on these race cars. Are these guys communicating with one another? I know a lot of times when you're on the same team with a driver, you kind of can sometimes you count down the start for your teammates, but I don't know if that's necessarily happening, considering we have so many of these Ryko affiliates in this race.
Yeah, I feel like if there were that many people on my team in one race, I would probably have it separated into a couple different Discords, to be honest. And yeah, to your point, not helping them, I mean, the whole top, I don't know, the top 6 of the top 7 are Ryko cars, right? So the only people that could benefit off, or there's nobody that's going to have a negative impact by you giving your teammates a jump start. So it kind of takes the advantage away. Yeah, so, I mean, I wouldn't do it. If I was Roman, I wouldn't give a countdown, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because that countdown could help. And there it is, green flag's out. And he didn't really catch him off guard too much. But Brad is going to, I do believe, secure second place. He drops right down in front of Daniel Nanny. Of course, Nanny now under fire from Joseph. Joseph, I do believe, the highest running position he's been in thus far, now up to fourth place. Side by side, though, I do believe Anthony Frederico and Chris Woolhite. Of course, Jose Acosta trying to work his way up to the top 5.
Yeah, on that restart, it was a little weird. Roman didn't really go in the restart zone. It almost looked like he waited for the flag man. I don't think he went until the absolute exit of the restart zone. Maybe to help his teammates out a little bit, just maybe he gave him a heads up, like, hey, we're going on green, so that everybody could kind of stay packed together. Maybe there was, you know, a side-by-side for 5th or 7th, somewhere around there that he was trying to help out a teammate in that position, maybe. But, you know, it was a relatively clean restart still. We haven't had any restart accidents, which is what I kind of highlighted at the beginning of this, that I thought we would have a lot of. So, kind of a big credit to everybody that we've had such clean restarts coming off of turn 2 so far.
Tell you what, further back, we've been having some really close racing. Johnny Baldridge has been following kind of through the field here. He's now back to 15th. Matt White, though, got loose off of turn number 4. He falls back now to 18th place. We're seeing a lot of problems here a little bit deeper in the pack. A lot of issues. And you know who's really been, I'd say, getting the most positions? Probably been Paul Bergoli. He's up to 12th now on the newer tires.
I think he might be. Is he the first car on new tires right now? He might be. So, I mean, Paul Bergoli, he could absolutely make a run for the Ryco cars at the front of this field. He's got 25 lap pressure green flag tires. So, oh, is there's contact behind him? I can't tell who that is. He got into the side of Adrian Watts. Great save. I believe that's Ty Ippolito.
Ty Ippolito, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the first driver on new tires is actually, I believe, Jacob Snyder in the 13 machine in 9th place right now.
So another one of those Ryco cars like Alex Murray, who knew that he probably didn't have the pace on the same tires to go up there and challenge Nicholas Verhoeven and Briar LaPrade. He's done a great job on the strategy call, did a great job missing the wreck, and now he's sitting in a prime position to be able to jump a lot of his Ryco teammates.
100%. Looking further back here, we're seeing just, I mean, these guys are packed in here like sardines in some spots. I mean, looking at Lawrence Shaughnessy right behind him, they're 3 wide. Oh, this could
that's
be
tight.
bad. I do believe Jeff Shutt, Sam Devontier, all right there in the mix, still 3 wide, and this could end up being the site of the next caution.
They've kind of got it evened out, all sorted out a little bit. Oh man, Miller Bonds just about misses the entry of turn 3 again and wipes out another competitor, but he gets it off of him that time. The battle for the lead, though, is heating up. Briar LaPrade is all over the back bumper of Nicholas Roman here coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, he's just trying to look for that nose underneath the 1 machine. Of course, 95 on your screens. Briar LaPrade has been very, very fast. They actually matched each other pretty much lap time for lap time last time by. Very, very close on pace here. I mean, these guys are almost identical laps, and if they start battling, I think it's going to be good for the 5 machine of Daniel Nanny. He was in 3rd place, and he actually ran a faster lap than these drivers before, but very close on lap times from these all these Ryco drivers. But I'm looking at Jacob Snyder. Remember talking about he's on newer tires. He's up to 6th now. He's driving through the field in the 13 machine.
Yeah, he's doing a hell of a job, and that's those new tires, 20 lap newer tires. If this thing runs, I mean, now this is saying a lot, right? Like, I highly doubt it'll happen. But if this thing runs green, Jacob Snyder's sitting really pretty. You know, he's got the absolute best tires in the field, picking off his Ryco teammates, faster than everybody. I'm kind of rooting for him. I kind of hope we go green for a little while and see how this turns out.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, he on your screen is showing as the 02. He's actually in the 13 as he dives inside of Chris Woolhite. Also, Paul Bergoli is making moves. He's up to 9th place. I do believe now he's trying to challenge Joshua Watson. Of course, let's see if this 13 can make the pass on Woolhite. Woolhite is not a slouch as well.
That's a little bit of teamwork there, though, I believe. He knows his teammates on faster tires there. He sees that Ryco paint scheme coming up in his mirror. And the last 2 laps, Jacob Schneider was 1 in complete dirty air, and then the 2nd lap side by side, and was able to run down the leaders both times, maybe because they're side by side for the lead going down the backstretch right now into turn 3.
That's right, we were too busy watching Jacob Snyder, and they're battling for the lead right now. Ooh, LaPrade getting tight off of turn number 4. And that is why Verhoeven's running that defensive line, able to really get the runs off the corners, especially on the front stretch. Still side by side out of 2. And they're going to go side by side still all the way down the backstretch. LaPrade not done yet, and this is going to bring Nanny into this fight.
Whenever two cars are so even, though, like Nicholas Vroman and Briar LaPrade are, though, it's so hard to make that move on the bottom work because Nicholas Vroman can just pinch you just a little bit more than you want to get into both corners, especially 1 and 2. He can kind of pinch, rise up a little bit, and pinch back down to get a straight exit and use a lot more of the racetrack, a lot more of the banking to turn his car. I don't think it's as beneficial in turns 3 and 4, but through 1 and 2, you can see he'll end up entering just about on the door of Briar LaPrade and then have a kind of a double apex corner throughout it. Let's see, he gives him a little bit more room this time. Still goes up the track just a little bit. That wasn't as egregious as I've been seeing the past couple laps, but he's still going to get a good straight run off the corner where he's able to put about, he was able to get Briar to about his door.
But look at the lap time difference here with Jacob Schneider. 23.192 versus Roman and LaPrade. They're hitting 23.4, 23.5 last time by. Schneider's going to come up here and take the lead if they don't stop battling. He's there. He's now in third. He just made the pass on Daniel Nanny.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters whether they're battling or not. Those new tires mean so much at an old, worn-out surface like Richmond Raceway is. I mean, Jacob Schneider, I don't know exactly where he restarted on that last restart, but it wasn't in the top 10, and he is absolutely driven up to the back bumper of both leaders. He's going to look to the high side of Briar LaPrade here. He's going to try to cut down to get a straight run off so that he can maybe look under him going into turn 3.
Yeah, definitely very fast race car right now. Last time by, he was, I do believe, 3/10 actually faster than the drivers in front of him. So I think if anybody can make that top side work versus these two leaders, I think he's going to be able to do it. Also, a little bit further back in 10th place, Brian Young. He's had his fair share of issues himself. Just made his way up into the top 10. As we see, of course, Schneider now going to the inside of the 2 machine.
Great job from Jacob Schneider there, going down the front stretch. He just kind of showed his nose the entire time, saying, hey, I'm going to put my nose down here no matter what you do. If you come down, I'm going to hit you in the back bumper. And Briar just kind of gave him the room. You know, he knows it's early. He knows that Jacob's got probably about the same setup and 20-lap fresher tires. So he just kind of let him go, and Jacob Schneider's going to probably go through to the lead here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, definitely think so. Roman, of course, still holding the bottom, not going to necessarily let him go. He's like, you got to get underneath me, and then I might let you go. And I think Schneider's going to get there into turn number 1, and I think we're going to have another new leader out of turn 2. As Jacob Schneider, new leader here. Nicholas Roman has led the most laps here tonight. No longer up at the top spot, but of course, we'll have to wait and see how the strategy kind of all works out. If it stays green, I think Schneider, he's going to be rolling in the dough at the end of this race.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see it happening, but I mean, if it does run green, he's got the optimal strategy. If he can pull out this gap to the entire pack behind him, and then even after pit stops, right, there could be 2, 3, 4 laps where he just doesn't pit. He'll end up cutting his first stint short just to cover off the new tires. But if he can come out of the pits with 5-lap fresher tires and a lead, I don't think there's anything Vroman or LaPrade could do for the rest of the race as long as Jacob does a good job saving his tires.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of time he's going to be able to build up, I mean, he's already got a half a second lead on Schneider. Of course, we just saw Paul Bergoli actually make the pass for the 5th place position. Got by Joseph. Side by side, Joshua Watson, I do believe, and Chris Wilhite. They are battling for that 7th place position at the moment. So lots of battling going on. Brian Young has been making his way through the field quite substantially. Of course, the 17, we saw him have a big lose condition earlier in the race, was outside of the top 15, now is all the way back in the top 10 up to 9th, and is actually battling for 8th at the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned the battle for 8th. Paul Bergoli, second car on new tires, coming through to 4th place. Like I said, he's just kind of that kind of driver that makes smart little strategy decisions, takes care of his stuff, and he's going to be there at the end of the race for a top 5, top 10 finish almost no matter what. So I think Paul Bergoli here, you see him coming through to 4th place. Could he run down Vroman and LaPrade and kind of put himself on the same strategy and as Jacob Schneider here? I think it's very possible. He's still running them down.
Oh yeah, it's definitely very possible. And like you said, but he's going to have a uphill battle in order to get up there to Schneider. Schneider's got clean track in front of him. He's got clean air. That's going to be really good for him. So I don't think Paul Bergoli is going to really have anything for Schneider. It looks like Matt White. Matt White, another one that has had a significant recovery. He is now up into the top 10, battling for 9th right now. So this race has definitely been one that I think the headlines are strategy to close in on 100 laps. to go here. 98, I do believe, so 102 next time by.
That's what I love about these high wear racetracks and the tire limits that iRacing implemented a couple of years ago. I mean, the fact that you cannot come down to pit road every time and put on tires at these high wear racetracks, Richmond, Darlington, whenever Chicagoland was a thing, Chicagoland. I mean, it's incredible to be able to see the different strategies come into play, because that's what racing is, right? And we missed that for a long time in iRacing, but they implemented the tire limits a couple of years ago, and we've been able to be treated to these kind of strategy races that you get in real life whenever you get long green flag runs. Matt White, like you mentioned, I mean, he's from the back of the pack. He was in the first wreck that caused a caution, and because of strategy, he's up to 9th place. That's incredible recovery for Matt.
Man, you just reminded me of something. I forgot that we used to have unlimited tires in official.
Oh, man. It was cool.
Every single time a caution come out, he'd be like, I'm coming down pit road. I remember that, yeah.
Exactly. Like, track position maybe back then wasn't as big of a deal, too, because I think it was a little easier to pass back in the day with the whole car. At least on iRacing it was.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no worries. I mean, we've got a great battle, like you said, for second place. If they're side by side, Nicholas Roman still just holding that outside line against Briar LaPrade. I mean, he might make it easy on him this time around since he's not in the lead, but I'm sure he's got to think, if we get back on the even tire strategies with Jacob, he's got to think we've got a better chance to pass him. And so if I was Roman, I might have fought that a little bit more, but I think that he also sees Paul Bergoli coming up in their mirror pretty fast and just doesn't want to give up as much track position.
I'll tell you, we've seen a lot of fall off from some drivers. I mean, you look at Daniel Nanny, 24.3. Same thing for Joseph. These guys are starting to really struggle. Versus, Snyder's 23.6s, even LaPrade 23.5. I mean, he actually has been matching Snyder here the last couple laps. So I think LaPrade's been doing a heck of a job saving the tires. Here comes Paul Bergoli, going to be trying to work his way up into the top 3. But we're seeing a significant difference, I'd say, in guys who have been saving tires and who have not. And, of course, looks like Joseph, Daniel Nanny battling for that 5th place position right now.
Yeah, that's one thing about Jacob Schneider. While he has the newer tires, he still did have to pass a ton of cars and wear out those tires a little bit to be able to move past everybody, right? I think Paul Bergoli's maybe done just a little bit job at saving because he didn't come through the field as fast, but we haven't seen the fruits of that quite yet because he's still in 4th place, stuck behind the other 2 Ryko cars that are on the older tires. But to your point, the top 6 or 7 were all Ryko cars just a little while ago, and we've got a non-Ryko car, I believe Paul's TWRS car here, making a move for 3rd place under Nicholas Roman.
100%. Also, Brian Young, he's made his way up to 6th, just got by Daniel Nanny. Hey, Brian Young, I mean, this guy went from spinning out and now is up in 6th, but looking up, like you said, Paul Bergoli trying to get by Nicholas Roman, but Roman has been doing such a successful job of running that top defending line. You can tell he's pinching Bergoli down. And this is going to do is wear Bergoli's tires out, and I think that's exactly what Roman's trying to do.
For sure. On the exit of 4, if you're on the inside, you can kind of use a lot of the racetrack to skate both of the cars up off the corner. On the exit of turn 2, if you're on the inside, you've just got so much wheel into it, and you're trying so hard to get on the throttle, but it's just that push-loose condition that we saw so much at New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, especially in the Global Racing Truck Series that we broadcast on Sundays. It was just push loose, and that is exactly what turn 2 is here. Coming off of 4, the back end likes to step out a little bit, and you can kind of skate it up the racetrack and still keep your foot in the throttle. But coming off of turn 2, if you're pinched to that inside, you just can't get the throttle down.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely a problem in, I think, every vehicle on iRacing here. That and that's a problem in real life. When you're trying to pass somebody on the bottom, you just cannot get the throttle down and have the exit that the guy up on top does. And you're seeing that Paul Bergoli's searching. He's searching for some way to get by Roman here, maybe taking the timeline. Here goes back to the inside again into turn 1. He's going to hope that he's able to maintain the momentum to the center of the corner. Oh, a little bit tight through the center, and a little bit of contact, I do believe, between him and the one of Roman. Of course, very good driving though for Bergoli to keep from wrecking Roman, because I mean, you could just tell a lot of these guys that are running up in the top 5, I'd say, have a lot of respect for each other and don't really, want to wreck each other. I mean, Roman's one of the most, I'd say, cleanest drivers I've seen, and very good, respectful driver, I'd say, compared to a lot of other drivers. Bergoli, I'd say the same way.
Absolutely, I'd say the same thing about the 2. Now, what we saw last time whenever Paul went for that move, as we got someone in the wall, is that Ty Ippolito again. There, yeah,
I believe it is, yeah.
looked like he got to the wall. But going back to Paul Bergoli, right? He entered turn 3 high, trying to get that low cut back to get a straight exit off of 4 to be able to get to Roman's inside. The only problem is the inside of turn 1 and 2 is just not the place to pass. If he would maybe reverse that and would kind of set 1 and 2 up as his setup corners and then make the move in 3 and 4, I think that he would have a much higher probability of making that work, but he just hasn't been doing that. He's side by side again with Nicholas Roman as we're watching a replay of Ty Ippolito pounding the fence.
Yeah, I think Ippolito was trying to avoid the car that was in front of him, if I'm not mistaken. I think that might have been Joshua Watson. Or, it was a blue car. And I know Joshua Watson is in a blue race car, so I'm not sure. Still side by side, though, for third. I'm telling you, this is hurting Bergoli's tires, and it's also bringing Joseph into the picture as well as Brian Young. I mean, these guys, last time by, they were 2 tenths faster than these guys that are side by side ahead of them. And the guys that are in front of them, Brian LaPrade and Snyder, are pulling away. Look at this, 2 seconds now Brian LaPrade has on Nicholas Roman. I think Paul Bergoli's got to be getting very frustrated here with Broman. But I mean, Broman's not doing anything particularly wrong. He's just defending the spot, and he's playing the smart call to make Bergoli pass him and burn his tires up.
Yeah, Nicholas is doing absolutely nothing wrong. He's running a perfectly defensive line, just running that outside line, being very, very, deliberate with the line that he's putting his car in. He's not doing anything erratic, making it very obvious for Paul what he's doing. As he gets a little loose coming off the corner there, that gives Paul a chance here. He could slide him. He doesn't enter too deep. Paul's doing maybe a little bit too much to give Nicholas room on the entry of these corners, right? Like, he really shallowed up his entry there. He's not even really going to give himself a chance off of 2 unless Nick gets loose off.
Like I said earlier, there, yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I really hope to see Paul tuck in right behind him right here and wash up the track in turn 1 and cut back down under him on the exit of 2. But it doesn't look like he's doing it. He's just kind of showing his nose. I really just think if Paul would use 1 and 2 as the setup corner and be able to get even with Nick going into turn 3 and just outbrake him, I think that's his best chance.
Yeah, either way, the pressure is definitely starting to increase. I mean, look at how much slower. I mean, Broman's did 24.28 last time by. Paul Bergoli, same thing. Joseph was 2 tenths or more faster than them last time by. Joseph's getting ready to enter this battle, and the pressure cooker is starting to, I do believe, heat up a little bit here. But definitely been very impressed with the 13 of Jacob Snyder. I think that if it stays green, which it has a lot of the looks of it possibly staying green, is we're in 117 laps in, 118 now. That means we have, I do believe, going to be 82 laps to go next time by. I mean, this thing is flying right by, and it has, like I said, all the hallmarks of possibly going green. You see Paul Bergoli looking for possibly the high side, not quite able to get there. But I think, like I said, Joseph Squared, as you said, is getting ready to join this battle. They're getting ready to have some company.
This is Paul's chance. I wish he would just stay in line. I really just don't think you can make the move work on the bottom of 1 and 2 unless you get the guy above you loose. I think he's just kind of making a little bit of a mistake going to this bottom line. I think he could really, well, he just about gets even with him coming off the corner. That's his best run off of 2 on the inside, but he's still just not going to be able to drive it in deep enough to clear him going into 3. They're only just side by side. Yeah, he's got the lap traffic. Oh, they make almost contact, maybe a little bit of netcode contact there, and he's actually got a nose on him for the first time going into turn 1.
This could be it. He's going to send it in. He finally gets the pass completed on Nicholas Broman. I guarantee you there's a sigh of relief for Paul Bergoli, but now he's got to deal with some lap traffic as you see the 32 right there. And, of course, he goes down to the apron to try to get out of the way. He's going to be coming actually down pit road. But Joseph Square now on the rear end of Nicholas Broman. So I think Paul Bergoli made that pass at the most optimal time. But look at how costly that was for the 7 of Bergoli. Look at how far ahead the drivers in front of him are now. I mean, Brian LaPrade's 2.5 seconds ahead of him right now.
I believe before that battle, Paul Bergoli was within 2 seconds of the lead, and now he's 6 seconds off of it. Now that he has the clean air, he's going to start doing a little bit better, but it's also, how much did he kill those tires behind Nicholas Roman there, you know?
Oh,
he had 20 lap fresher tires, but if you get pinched on the inside for that long, I mean, it doesn't matter how much newer tires are, or how much newer your tires are, you're still going to kill the hell out of them and be slower for the rest of the race. The good news for him, I believe Joseph Squared is also on the same strategy as Nicholas Broman. So I think now that he's got the clean air, he's going to pull away from both of them, even if Roman lets Joseph Squared go. So I'm really just interested in the battle for the lead now, right? So we know that there's got to be at least one more pit stop. Nobody has enough gas to make it to the end of the race. Even if they did and it was, right on the edge of the fuel window, I think tires mean so much that they would have to pit anyway. So it's really just about how much of a lead can Jacob Schneider keep over Breyer McGrath, right? So Breyer is currently running 24-second flat lap times, and his absolute fastest lap of the race is a 22.89. So he is 1.2 seconds off the pace currently. So as soon as he puts on new tires, Jacob currently would have a 2-lap buffer where he could wait 2 laps to pit and have 2-lap pressure tires for the rest of the race over Breyer. That is his absolute best bet. If he could extend that, as he just did 2/10 that lap, if he can continue to extend that lead and just build it to a 3 or a 4-lap advantage, then he could absolutely win this race.
Chris Wilhite down pit road, so I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of drivers are starting to really consider that I cannot make it, and I need to get tires. Even if they could make it on fuel, like you said, they need to get tires. I mean, but the thing about it is, and it's not a light decision to pit at a racetrack like this. If you pit at Richmond, you're guaranteed to go 2 laps.
The caution's out
while green flag pit stops are going on, and I do believe that I think that's the 20.
No, that's Michael McLean. I don't know what number he is, but
it's the 20 of Michael McLean.
Michael McLean
again. Custom number of the 46, but he actually is the 20. It looks like a 3-wide condition with Jose Acosta. And look at that. Oh.
I mean, Jose might have came down just a little bit to leave the guy on his outside a little bit of room. Well, I don't know if I necessarily like that from McLean. He absolutely stopped to get the caution to come out. But
good that he didn't hit the wall. I give him credit for that. He could have easily had some
yeah, he had it straight, though, for a while. He could have let off the brake there, but the leader was coming by. He was hoping that he wouldn't lose the lap, and it looks like he still did lose the lap, but he'll get the lucky dog if, well, he probably won't get the lucky dog because he was the cause of the caution. So maybe he thought Jose was going to clear the 32 coming off the corner, and I think that's pretty normal. I could see him maybe thinking that he would clear him coming off. It looked like he had the better run, so he thought he was just going to be too wide, but Jose was just being a little bit gracious to, I believe it was Jeff Shudd on the outside. He did a good job making sure Jeff had enough room off the exit of the corner, make sure he didn't wreck himself over his nose. Just so happened that Michael thought that he wasn't going to leave that room, and it's just kind of a racing incident that time. I honestly wouldn't put it too much on either driver.
Not at all, but I'll tell you what, even though you wouldn't put it on either driver, it's going to have drastic consequences, I'd say, for a lot of drivers out here. I mean,
big time.
A lot of guys are going to be coming down pit road. This race off pit road could be the money stop, and also does this cause more cautions, considering everybody's, I think, going to be really starting to get somewhat more intense as this race progresses. I mean, we're over the halfway point. Let's go ahead and take this time now to take one more step away here, and we'll be right back with the conclusion, or should I say the final stages here of the race here at Richmond Raceway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Grid Vision's presentation of the NIS race at Richmond Raceway. Of course, my name's Brian Britt. I have Austin Edstrom down as my co-host, Austin Darbyshire down behind the cameras. Green flag soon to be coming back out as the pace car takes the left turn down pit road. Of course, there goes Jacob Schneider up through the gears. Of course, caught Briar LaFran off, I'd say, a little bit, as we see a battle from Nicholas Broman and Paul Bergoli. For the most part, everybody at the moment is on the same, I'd say, set of tires. We kind of reset and shuffled the deck again. But you did mention as well that there's some drivers that kind of didn't have a good pit stop. Chris Wilhite, one being, I do believe, an example.
Well, it's just Chris Wilhite, Johnny Baldridge, Ty Ippolito. We got a caution. Matt White after. Oh, what are they? Arca braking in the back. Unbelievable. Matt White probably had that saved, and he just got run over again. He had such an incredible recovery drive going, and he just gets absolutely, well, I was about to say a bad word, but he got packed in the right rear. He got packed in the right rear towards the end of that wreck whenever it should have been done with. That's heartbreaking. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I mean, just guys not having the race awareness, and he was up in the top 10 before that previous caution came out. As we take a look here, and I think he possibly just lost it. He just lost it. Tires were probably cold. I think that might have had something to do with it. Look at that big hit. How did those guys not see him up there? And I think that they just weren't really aware. And then look at that, turned after the fact there.
I kind of feel bad for,
if I'm not mistaken.
It was Kleber there. I kind of feel bad for him because I don't know if maybe if we could get a cockpit view of Kleber there on that wreck for a replay maybe. Some people in front of him might have just swerved out of his way so he couldn't see the wreck until the last minute. Yeah. And then even whenever he got on the brakes, he had Ty Ippolito up his butt, so he couldn't do anything about it.
Could have very well easily been visibility. And, you know, visibility is limited in these race cars, that's for sure. As we take a look through the cockpit camera here of Kleber, you see just the smoke. I mean, the smoke should have already been.
Yeah, but
I would say that would be enough of a sign that I need to start stopping.
So you're absolutely right, but if you looked at his RPMs were going down, right? He was absolutely out of the throttle. We can't tell his brake percentage, but I imagine he was probably in the brakes at a relatively decent time. And I still wouldn't even put too much of that on Ty behind him, right? It's just the car in front of him just hard turned left right at the last minute, and you know, he just didn't exactly see where the car was. So I mean, it is kind of arc a brake at the end of the day. It looks bad, but it's also hard for me to put that completely on Kleber there. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those visibility issues.
100%. No, I agree. I agree, definitely. I mean, things could have went a lot different, but hindsight's always 20/20. And unfortunately, Matt White is going to be having to write that check and cash it, and that's just going to be, or he's going to write the check and someone else is going to cash it for him, I guess I should say. Of course, Jacob Schneider's still out in front, and definitely been a good race here for this 13, because everybody is kind of on the same level of tires now. I think the 13's probably sweating. What do you think here? Also, Alex Murray, really good recovery from him. We saw him with some damage earlier. He's now up in 6th place.
Yeah, I was just about to start talking about the recovery drives, right? We had just mentioned Matt White before that accident. He had a great recovery drive. Another, like you just mentioned, Alex Murray, and we've been talking about Brian Young, right? But Alex Murray was in that accident whenever he should have been one of the first guys on new tires coming through the field. He honestly should be second or first with Jacob Schneider at the end of that at the end of that last long run. And still, even with that damage that he's gotten fixed, he's been able to move all the way back up to 6. Now that he's on the even tires with everybody, I'm more interested to see if the damage is more noticeable in his speed. Maybe the tires were masking that, the tire advantage. But, I mean, Alex is a great driver, so I feel like, especially to short track, he could definitely make a damaged race car work pretty well.
Yeah, definitely very talented driver. Knows what he's doing as well when it comes to adjusting and building on the race car. So I feel like even if he had damage on that race car, he could probably make adjustments to compensate. I would feel like, I mean, I've known Alex for quite a bit of time. He's pretty good mind when it comes to building on a race car.
Yeah, for sure, and you never know. There's some damage that could help you out, right? But
yeah,
I don't think that his
100%.
was. I think his was just right front damage. You really never want right front damage. In real life, if you get the right front torn off, maybe it helps you cool the brakes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is quite coded into the sim perfectly, so I wouldn't even say that. But it looks like he's just gotten the damage fixed, so he's probably not got any issues, if I had to bet. Maybe he's a little tight, but like you said, he's a very experienced builder. He could probably tweak the setup a little bit to kind of fix that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the whole package, I'd say. I have a lot of glowing things to say about Alex Murray. used to hang out with him all the time and stuff like that. I hate to bring the personal stuff into it, but he's very talented. I've always respected him as a builder. But it looks like we're getting ready to get this thing back underway. Pace car preparing to take a left turn down pit road. And here we go. Green flag back out in the air. Jacob Snyder guns it. Very good restart there from Snyder. Of course, Brian LaPrade trying to hold off Roman. Roman, of course, not able to get the run he needs up the inside. It looks like, I do believe, LaPrade is going to get clear here, possibly. Yeah, he does. And, of course, the battle's on now for third. Joseph and Roman side by side. Alex Murray trying to work his way past Paul Bergoli.
Yeah, we're 2 by 2, just about all the way through the field. We saw a 3-wide battle back further towards the back. It's kind of getting to crunch time. You know, there's only about 60 laps to go the next time that we come around to hit the stripe. So I'm kind of thinking these restarts, right? I had mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the restarts are hairy. Whenever everybody's really gunning for it, coming off at turn 2, coming off at turn 4 on the first couple laps, it's just high, tight racing. Kind of like the exits of Pocono, right? We saw a lot of accidents throughout the Pocono races, and a lot of that was coming off of turn 1. It gets really tight. Coming off of turn 2, it just gets really tight, and you've got to fight for the advantage down the straightaway. Here, the advantage down the straightaway isn't as noticeable, but, you know, if you're on that inside line and you just can't get the power down, you know, it is still a big disadvantage. So you're trying to use all the racetrack you can, and towards the end of this race, even people like Paul here, who has been giving plenty of space the entire race to everybody, even people like him are going to start giving less and less space and trying to be more taking. As you see right there, he gave so little space, Alex got to the wall.
Brian Young almost get, man, I'm telling you, Alex Murray getting ready to get body slammed there for a second.
That was a hairy moment there for Murray. I don't think Bergoli did anything wrong there either. They actually never made contact to build the corner, but as I said, Paul typically gives a lot of room, and he's starting to give less and less because we're getting down to crunch time, and he's only gone to a top 5 spot, the only non-Ryco affiliated car in the top 5. So, I mean, I'm sure that he's kind of thinking, you know, I want to be at least best of the rest, and if he can finish in the top 5 ahead of a couple Ryco cars, that's a big statement on his talent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. I mean, I think he's definitely a very talented driver. As we see, I do believe Daniel Nanny, who started on the outside pole, now trying to work on the inside of the 17 of Brian Young for that 7th place position. Nanny, course, he's been struggling. I'd say Nanny's been struggling on the longer runs. So it really just shows you that it's all in the driver's hands. Richmond is definitely a driver's track. But Nanny, I think we do believe probably making some adjustments on that race car, maybe adjusting the brake bias. That's another thing that these guys can mess with. As you see Young getting a little bit loose off of turn 2. Now keep in mind, when Young was driving his way up through the field earlier, he was on a tire advantage. No longer has that advantage. And it looks like Nanny does get clear up to 7th.
Yeah, Nanny did a great job there. Like we've been talking about the whole time, you just get pinched down on the bottom, you can't do much. But there, Daniel Nanny just took that inside line and continued fighting for multiple laps and just took the position away eventually, as we see Paul Bergoli give up 5th place finally to Alex Murray. It looked like a little bit of sportsmanship right there from Paul Bergoli. He knew Alex was faster and just kind of washed up the track intentionally to make sure he got a good enough run in 2.6.
Yeah, I think Bergoli might have thought like he might have had something to do with the 22's issue there. So I think he might have just did that as a, you know, hey, if I had any problem with that, here's your position back. I mean, Paul Bergoli definitely a good guy. As you see Nanny now on the inside now. I don't know if Paul Bergoli's going to let Nanny have it, or maybe he's going to try to save tire. We'll have to wait and see how this kind of works out. But Jacob Snyder, very impressed. With that strategy, he's up in the lead and he's got the clean air. I mean, Briar LaPrade has been a tough customer. I don't know if he's going to be able to stay in front of him, but it's so difficult to pass. I think Jacob Snyder has a good shot at possibly getting this thing done. But I mean, the closer we get to it, I think the more nerves are going to start to shoot that 13 machine.
Yeah, and we saw that Briar did the best on the long run on tires, right? You know, he was on older tires than Jacob, and he consistently lost time to Jacob. But there were a couple laps there where he would just maintain, and he would be right on the same lap time as Jacob. So I feel like Jacob's best bet is for 15 laps caution, so that he can continue using his tire sets. And you know, it might throw a wrinkle into it with some people staying out in some places, but if he's really just thinking about holding off Briar LaPrade, I think kind of a caution-filled race to the end of the run, or to the finish, would probably be his best bet. We've seen how good the leader takes off on restarts, man, that inside line. So if he just holds on to that advantage and gets lucky with a couple cautions, I think that's his best bet, because we all know how fast Briar LaPrade is on the late race runner.
I'll tell you, just some battling going on a little bit further back in the field. Jose Acosta and Michael McLean. This could be the site of possibly caution here back here in 17th position. You see McLean has gotten really close to hitting Jose a couple times. I've been kind of watching back here, and you see Jose's pinching quite a bit on Michael McLean. And I think McLean's going to probably get tired of that eventually, and we'll have to wait to see how that all kinds of how that turns out.
Yeah, he drives it in deep into turn 1 here. He's just going to try to kind of slide up. Jose kind of gives it to him a little bit. He might give him the bumper on exit, but he just doesn't quite have to run. Michael McLean's one of the most aggressive drivers on this surface, I'll tell you right now. He rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but he's still fast, right? He makes it work. And you know what? If you can make it work and finish top 15 in the top split NIS on Friday night, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter how you get there. If he can consistently do it, I mean, let the aggression show.
I mean, both of those drivers are very aggressive, and I think he did what he had to do. He kind of, used his muscle a little bit.
Oh, they reckon in front of him. Good save by, both drivers have it saved. That's 2 free spots for Michael McLean there as we're talking about him. We couldn't tell. I think that's Cody Richardson in the 22 that was into the side of the 14 of Alan Fajari. I believe those were the 2 that were in that accident right there, or near accident.
Yeah, I do believe they were both involved in that. We'll take a look back at it and see exactly what happened. You see right behind him, Michael McLean, and there it is. How did they? I'm surprised they saved that.
Looked like Cody just got a little loose coming over that bump on the exit of turn 2. You know, most people track to that wall, and it looked like he was on that line to go track to the wall, and then it's not like he really turned left across the track, but it's like it just stopped moving up.
Battle for the lead. And there goes that. Look at that. Adam LaPrade, or Briar LaPrade, makes it look easy, as he is now taking over the lead from the 13 of Jacob Snyder. Now look at this though. LaPrade and Snyder have a second on Vroman at the moment.
I'm really surprised Jacob let that one go so easy. Maybe he's thinking just to save the tires and maximize his finish instead of burning them up, trying to stay in front of Briar there. But I'm surprised he really just washed up the track really high. I don't know if that was a mistake or if he was just giving the benefit of the doubt to Briar there and just giving him the lead so he could save tires instead of burning them up. But definitely not ideal for Jacob, but he's done a great job here moving through the field whenever he had the new tires. And if he can still hold on to a top 3, he's got to feel good about his night.
I'll tell you who's starting to move in the wrong direction. It's been Brian Young. He's now back in 12th right now, actually battling with, I believe, Chris Wilhite at the moment. Now, Wilhite, you mentioned that he had some issues on pit road, I do believe, and he had actually fallen pretty much almost to the rear of the field. He's now up to 11, so very, very good recovery here from Wilhite in that 3 machine, and definitely going to be good. He's going to be needing as many points as he can get here. I do believe he is in the top 10 in the NIS points right now, and definitely wants to continue to march his way forward.
Yeah, he just got a little unlucky with the timing of the caution. He was making a strategy play so that he could pick up a lot of time by short pitting, and then as soon as he pits, the caution comes out and he gets stuck a lap down. Luckily for him, I believe he was either still on pit road or just came off of pit road, so his tires are equal with everybody else's. He didn't put any wear on them, but he had to take the wave around and start at the very back of the pack, so roughly 24th, 25th, and he's moved all the way up into 12th place right now, or 11th place right now, so he's running really good back to the front of the field. Let's see, he might end up making it a Ryko 1 through 7 by the end of this race. We'll just have to wait and see.
I'll tell you one driver I'd say deserves quite a bit of credit. In 10th place right now, the 27 of Drew Blaze. He is actually, I do believe, a 3,800 iRating compared to some of these drivers in here. He's low iRating compared, and he's in the 27 car. I mean, got to really give him a lot of credit. He's running really well, top 10 and top split NIS, 4,600 strength of field. This guy deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, that's a hell of a run. I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Is that
Mr. Bean? Mr. Bean is scaring the hell out of me right here with this this driver camera. Well,
like he's naked too. I don't like this.
I don't even know what
Let's
to say
not
about
go
that.
back to that camera again. Let's not do that.
We were talking about how good he was doing on the racetrack. We don't need to talk about his lower than average driver suit skills. I'm just kidding. It looked pretty good. It's just scary as hell. But, you know, like you said, he's doing an absolutely great job as we've got Jacob Schneider here. He's wearing a nice little dapper suit with, I'm going to say Minnesota Viking, purple and yellow, not LSU. I'm going to go Minnesota Viking. Nice Minnesota Viking suit there, Jacob. That's what I'm going with.
Got a battle going on right now for, I do believe, the 18th position. Maggie McGuire and Johnny Baldridge. Haven't talked about Maggie McGuire here tonight. Definitely looking good in that 12 machine. Very bright pink. Definitely can tell that race car's out there. As it looks like Johnny Baldridge now up to the 18th spot. I know the 10 machine, of course, shows on the 17 on our screens, has been struggling all day. Has just not had the best day at all, and trying to make a bad situation a little bit better.
Yeah, Baldridge has been involved in a lot of just unfortunate circumstances, right? I know that he got into the back of, I believe, it was whoever got into the back of him early in the race. You know, they just kind of trading back and forth. It was Miller Bonds, but both of them have recovered into the top 18. But Johnny also was stuck on pit road just like Chris Wilhite was and had to take the wave around. So he also got screwed over by that and had to start at the very tail of this field. He's clawed his way all the way back up to 18th place right now. So awesome job from Johnny. Hopefully he can bring it home pretty good, even though he's had an eventful day. I wouldn't say miserable just yet. I won't jinx him because it could get worse, but we've seen Nicholas Froman has made a pass here for second place on Jacob Schneider.
Schneider's actually starting to struggle a little bit. Last time by 23.765. He's off the pace by a pretty large margin. I do believe the car that is pretty close to his pace is back in 17th, Sam DeVantier. So I think Schneider, I don't know if something's going wrong, or maybe he's just not as good on the long run. Maybe you mentioned it earlier, maybe letting Briar LaPrade go because he didn't want to burn his tires up. I think he already did. I mean, one thing about, any race car on iRacing, at least the NASCAR series cars, the first 5 to 10 laps are the most important laps. If you push it too hard in those laps, you're going to ruin the rest of your run, and I think that's what's happened here with Jacob.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it on the head right there. I mean, he did a good job holding off Briar for a long time, but, I mean, at the end of the day, the way that Briar was just all over his back bumper the entire time, even though Jacob was in clean air, there's only so much you can do whenever you're holding off a guy like that to save tires, and it's just almost impossible. But, here we've got a battle for, this, 5th place between Alex Murray and Daniel Nanny. We've talked about the recovery drive for Murray, but it looks like Nanny's going to get to his inside here. Let's see how tight Alex holds him to the inside. He gives him plenty of room, maybe a little bit of teammate niceties right there, even though we're getting down to about 30 laps to go. But looks like Alex just didn't turn in there early to give the spot up, and they're both probably going to be running away from Paul Bergoli after this if Paul didn't do as good of a job saving tires as we think he might have.
Yeah, and I think Alex might even be showing some of his damage right now as well on the longer runs. I mean, Daniel Nanny, if I recall, was not as good on the long runs, or maybe he's figured something out. But I do know Alex is significantly off the pace compared to a lot of drivers as well. So maybe the damage, a lot of times when you get suspension damage, it definitely causes a different tire wear than I think you want, really. Of course, you see Jacob Schneider encountering some lap traffic. That's the 32, I do believe, of Jeff Shutt. Of course, glad to see, even though Jeff Shutt is having some issues here tonight, we do got to give credit to drivers that are not willing to quit. I mean, a lot of drivers will, any little inconvenience will give up and tow the car and just like manually disconnect it, But guys that staying out there, you gotta say that that's a good thing, even though it might, the leaders might not like it very much, but I mean, it just shows that, that don't give up attitude. You never know what positions you'll get because of that.
Yeah, for the most part, though, I think he's done a good job staying out of the way, right, whenever he is getting lapped. I don't think he's put up too much of a fight with any of the leaders. So, and I think he pulled down one time whenever he got lapped. I don't know if it was because he was coming to pit road, but he really pulled off to the bottom of the backstretch to let the leaders go earlier in the race. So credit to him just for, being self-aware and understanding the leaders are just in a different pace right now. And, I think he's been in an accident or two, so I think he might have a little crinkle to that right front that's hurting Jeff here. And sometimes you just get dealt a bad hand, but he's doing a good job of making sure he doesn't deal any other bad hands to anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. Saw Lawrence Shaughnessy. We were kind of watching him. He actually had a big loose moment there. He's actually, I do believe, 9 laps down at the moment. Oh, another loose moment right there behind him as well. So a lot of drivers starting, I think, struggle. Seeing a lot of fall off, about a second, I'd say, a fall off for a lot of these drivers down here.
Yeah, we're to the point, if a caution comes out, there is no strategy play, right? Everybody's pitting for 4 tires and fuel. I hate to say it, but I would like to see it happen. I don't know if Vroman's kind of catching LaPrade. Last lap, he caught him by a little under a 1/10 of a second. So maybe if Briar runs into some lap traffic up here, we might get a pretty tight battle for the lead coming towards the end of this. I also think Nicholas did a better job saving his tires towards the beginning. Briar was all over the back bumper of Jacob right from the drop of the green flag. And Vroman was surprisingly off the pace. Maybe that was just because he was saving tires so that he could have something for Briar at the end of the race. As Kleber's just kind of in the way here of LaPrade. It's going to slow him up on corner exit. LaPrade doesn't have a great run, but he's absolutely going to show his nose and just dive to the inside. But I imagine that did cost him a little bit of time as he loses another 700ths to the second place driver.
Yeah, and look at that. You see the damage of that 28. Very hurt front end on that race car. And does he slow down Broman? I think is going to be the key. You know, he slowed down LaPrade a little bit, and I think he will. He looks like he's going to possibly be in the racing group there for Broman. It just depends on when Broman catches him. If it's in the center of the corner, it looks like, okay, the 28 does go high, allow Broman to go, so I don't think he's going to get near as hurt there. And you can see LaPrade last time by 23.642, Nicholas Broman 23.548, so that's a 10th difference in lap times. I think Broman has a legit shot here to win this race, and that would be big for him to be able to separate a little bit on points, I do believe, on Garrett Maines, who, of course, is not in competition here this evening. Do also want to mention, go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead, my bad.
I was just going to mention, I've been very impressed as well with Joseph. I think that last lap he was not as good as he was the lap before, but he's been consistent. Very consistently, a lot better than I think he was earlier in the race. I think he's got a top 3 car if we can get up here to Jacob. It looks like we have maybe an issue here. We're going to take a look at the replay.
Looking at Michael McLean.
Like Michael McLean might have had an issue here. Loose condition on the front stretch, and this could have easily caused a caution, but he comes to pretty much a slide there in the grass. This could have easily caused a caution. Luckily, it did not. No one was got involved in it. I think he lost quite a number of positions.
Yeah, that's just maybe a little bit of the consequence of running so hard at the beginning of these runs. Like I said, Michael McLean's one of the most aggressive drivers on the service. He'll absolutely burn up those new tires, and I think that's just kind of what we saw there. The tires have just been worn out pretty good, pretty heavily, and you know, maybe you just kind of lost that right rear coming out of turn 4. You know, I've talked about coming out of turn 4, you can start getting skatey, especially on throttle, so I think that's probably just what we saw from McLean there coming out of that corner.
And we are starting to see a lot of drivers going a lap down. I mean, we just saw, I do believe, Jason Wallet go a lap down in 22nd. Keith Bridgman is now in the process of going a lap down, so that leaves us, I do believe, 20 drivers on the lead lap. And I think by the end of this race, we're probably going to see possibly less than that, maybe only 15 on the lead lap, because, I mean, we see, of course, LaPrade has been absolutely on a rail, just driving through and passing everyone. Of course, everyone hasn't been really, I got to say, I'm impressed with how clean everybody's been, you know, just relenting and letting him go by. As, of course, we have, I do believe, coming up now to 17 laps to go. So I'm telling you, this blink and you'll miss it, ladies and gentlemen. Do not get up. Do not go get something to drink. That bag of popcorn better stay in the microwave because you're going to miss this race if you go get it.
Yeah, the two leaders ran identical lap times that last lap. They both ran 23 point devil's number, so we're they're running absolutely neck and neck. It's just they've got a second gap in between them. Can Nicholas Roman really make up that gap? He got slowed up a whole lot more from Keith Bridgman than Riley LaPrade did. Lost a 10th that lap, and he's just kind of running out of time. But you never know, if we get a late race caution, like I said, these restarts, especially late, people stop being nice. They really do. I mean, it's all take. So if somebody has a little moment like Michael McLean had earlier, but keeps it on the racetrack, we could see a really insane finish.
Oh, I think we could very well definitely see an insane finish. Drew Blaze, though, trying to challenge, I do believe, the 9th place position of Anthony Federico. I've just been nothing but impressed with this 27 car. I mean, he has been looking really good. Love that paint scheme, too. I mean, it looks like, I'm telling you, I want to get me a die cast of that thing. I mean, I'd be rolling around on the floor like I'm a little kid.
Yeah, I think we can obviously see Ryko's the class in the field. They have just brought something way better than everybody else. And Drew Blaze, the 27 car, is the second highest running non-Ryko car if he passes Anthony Federico here. So, I mean, that's a huge credit to him being the number 27 and being the second best non-Ryko car. I mean, heck, he could walk away with this thinking he came in second in the race for all I care. I mean, that's a hell of a run from him. God, stop showing the helmet, man. Oh my goodness, Mr. Frickin' Bean. Those eyes, it's just the eyes.
The paint scheme looks amazing, but I don't like his attire.
The paint scheme looks awesome. It looks like a classic short track, awesome. Saturday night short track paint scheme you'd see. That font on that number 1 looks absolutely perfect. But
it's like a Hot Wheels to me, man. It just reminds me of like a Hot Wheels car or something.
He shows his nose there just a little bit, but doesn't quite get the move done. it's going to take a little bit more than just a nose peak to get this spot away from Anthony here.
I'm surprised he's not a Ryko car, though, because he's got Garza on that. I think Garza is one of the sponsors at Ryko. I do believe he is a Ryko car. That's what our producer is telling us. But yeah, I mean, I do see Garza. And I know Garza Law Firm, I think, does have some affiliation with Ryko. That's why I kind of thought as he looks on the inside of Anthony Federico.
Good run for him.
Federico loose off of 4, and he's going to get the pass completed here.
Regardless of what setup he's got in that thing, he's still the 20. Mr. Bean on the side of the car. I didn't even see that. My goodness, man. Why is he addicted
Don't look
to Mr.
too
Bean?
close.
Get the camera off of him. Come on, Austin. Producer, get the camera off of him. I was singing his praises. Get it off. Get it off.
I mean, I do enjoy some Mr. Bean. I mean, but not in my race. As it looks like we're coming now, 10 laps to go. That's right, 10 circuits remain here at Richmond Raceway, as it has been a fantastic showing here today. These guys have been very, very clean. It looks like Anthony Federico is going to lose another spot. Chris Wilhite now up to the 10th place position. I don't believe Anthony Federico is done losing yet, because I do believe he's got the 11 of Adrian Watts actually right there behind him as well.
That's another Ryko car. Ryko's going to have, what, 9 of the top 10 after he makes this pass? I mean, goodness gracious. They are just...
Oh, yeah.
Or it'll be 10 of the top 11.
They're going to hate Paul Bergoli being kind of a little bit of a spoiler. They're going to be like, oh, we got 1 through 10.
Yeah, no kidding. That's just credit to Paul Bergoli. He's done absolutely great not having a Ryko set up and running in 7th place here. But, I mean,
look at this.
All you can do is commend
group of cars right here. This could be the sign of the caution right in front of the leader as well. This is a scary moment. You see the 2 of LaPrade right there. This could bring Broman into the picture.
Nicholas Roman screaming on the in-game chat, telling everybody to hold him up, but I don't know. Breyer's probably going to be able to clear most of these guys without incident, but Maggie McGuire gets just about to the outside fence. Looks like everybody's going to get away scot-free. I don't think. Well, now that LaPrade's kind of through the mess, now Roman's got to go through it. So I don't really think that it's going to be any bit of a advantage to Roman here, unless somebody gets together and takes out LaPrade. But you know, we're coming to. I think we just took 6 to go. So. You know, great showing from Breyer LaPrade. We mentioned early in the race, by the time the first caution came out on lap 15, he started 26 and was already up to just about the top 10. He's just completely drove through the field, easy peasy, not really putting the wheel wrong. I wouldn't expect him to put a real wheel wrong, to be honest with you. It's good seeing him have a great run out here tonight, you know, from the back. I mean, he really gave himself a challenge, and, well, he's delivered.
Yeah, he definitely has. I mean, it's been, if anyone's the biggest mover, it's definitely that 2 machine. As we now have coming up to 4 laps to go here. Brian LaPrade out front with a 1.2 second, almost 1.3 second lead on Nicholas Broman. Of course, Joseph, he's about 8/10 back from Jacob Schneider. Paul Bergoli is about 2/10 back from Alex Murray, but they are in some heavy traffic as well. Traffic is the name of the game here late in this race. As we come now to 3 to go. Laps are just poor. The end of the hourglass, the sand is starting to definitely run short here, ladies and gentlemen, as we, I do believe, have just a minute left of competition. But, of course, it's not over until the white flag flies. Of course, anything can still happen here that could possibly bring us to overtime.
Got to give big credit to the Ryko builders. I mean, they've brought an absolute rocket ship this week. It doesn't matter what caliber of driver you have. If you're taking up 10 of the top 11 spots, you have absolutely hit the setup perfect. I mean, there has been nothing wrong with any of the Ryko cars the entire race. Lawrence Shaughnessy got in some accidents, but that has nothing to do with the setup. Alex Murray got in an accident, but he's recovered all the way to 6. You could, I mean, obviously Alex is great, but you could also put that on the setup. I mean, just a major credit as we're about to take the white flag for Brian LaPrade.
Yeah, white flag out in the air right now. Brian LaPrade last lap. He's got about 1.5 seconds over Nicholas Broman. And I do believe this is going to be smooth sailing as he exits onto turn number 2, or out of turn 2, I should say, onto the backstretch, into turn 3. Blink, you'll miss it, and the end of this race is coming up. And here comes Brian LaPrade out of turn 4 onto the front stretch, and he crosses the start-finish line. Gives us a little drift, a little bit of a show there, as he has won the NIS race at Richmond Raceway, top split 4,600 race, and he has definitely earned this one, that's for sure. Starting in 26th position, all the way up to the lead, and what a dominant showing from Ryko Performance. Definitely I'm telling you, those guys, I don't know what they put in these race cars this week. They need to get them checked and see if they got any NOS in those race cars or jet fuel or something, because I don't know what's going on. But it looks like Briar LaPrad's going to be stopping on pit road. Not a really big, significant show off here. I mean, usually we see some type of burnout, but I think Briar LaPrad, he wins enough races. I don't need to do a burnout, right?
You might be right about that. I mean, what an incredible showing from Ryko. I know that's just about all we can talk about, to be honest with you. I mean, Ryko put on a dominating performance. I want to say they lead every single lap. I mean, even whenever Matt White stayed out towards the beginning of that race, you know, he's got a Ryko affiliation, and so I think they might have led every single lap of this race.
Yeah, I do believe you're right. Of course, let's take a look at the final results here from Richmond Raceway. Briar LaPrad in first place, Nicholas Vroman in second, Jacob Schneider finishes third, fourth place Joseph, fifth Daniel Nanny, sixth place Alex Murray, Paul Bergoli, the only Ryko driver, or a non-Ryko driver, that finishes up in the top 10 in seventh, eighth place Joshua Watson, ninth place Drew Breeze, very good job to him. Of course, 10th place Chris Woolhype, what a recovery from him.
11th place we got Adrian Watts, 12th Jose Acosta, 13th Anthony Federico, 14th Miller Bonds. Great recovery from him. He'd been in a couple accidents, so great job from him. 15th Brian Young, didn't fall back too far, only back to 15th after getting into the top 10. 16th Sam Devantier, 17th Johnny Baldridge, also great recovery. 18th Maggie McGuire, 19th Alan Pajari, and 20th Cody Richardson.
Of course, 21st Keith Brigman, 22nd Jason Wallet, 23rd Justin Cleaver, 24th Brian Traeger, 25th Ty Ippolito, 26th Hunter Wofford, 27th Michael McLean, 28th Jeff Shutt, 29th Lawrence Shaughnessy, 30th Togo Hisada, 31st Matt White, and 32nd Sean Rogers. And with that, I do believe we're going to go ahead and actually talk to I do believe we have our top three available here.
We do.
And we're going to talk to our third place finisher first, of course, Jacob Snyder. Jacob, fantastic performance here tonight, man. I mean, you had an interesting pit strategy, and it seemed to work out for you. You led a lot of laps. You were able to get past the likes of Nicholas Vroman and Briar LaPrad. What could you have done differently? Did you burn the tires up? What happened there?
Yeah, when I restarted in the lead and Briar was right on me, I think I overcooked my tires trying to stay ahead of him. But no, he's faster than me usually, so that's fine. I'm happy with third.
Yeah, definitely a great finish for you. If it had went green, I think you would have had a significant possibility of possibly winning this race. How much preparation do you think you put in to Richmond? Is this a place you usually like?
I just bought this track over the weekend.
No way.
Yeah, so
No way.
yeah,
God
I'm a road racer making the conversion over. So don't even have all the tracks yet.
You definitely hit the ground running. Awesome job. I mean, how do you feel like that transition has been? You know, do you think it's helped you at tracks like this?
I'm not sure. I think it helped more at Pocono, honestly. But I tried the previous generation car and just hated it, and tried it again with this next gen, and it seems to suit me a little better.
Well, definitely awesome job finishing in third place here in the top split NIS. Michigan's going to be coming up next week. I don't think road course racing is going to help you out there at all. Have you ever raced there?
No, I just bought it the other day, so I'll practice this weekend.
That track takes a lot of, I'd say it's a subtle, nuanced style track. It's tire saving and a super speedway kind of in one. So you're going to have a time with that, Jacob. But I mean, just seeing how good you did here tonight, I suspect you'll be up there and possibly be battling possibly for a win. I think eventually we're going to see you get one. Great job to you, Jacob. Who can we give a shout out to after your third place finish?
Yeah, Prodigy Esports. Those guys teach me a lot. They help me pick up on things quicker than I probably should. Alex coaches me along, and that was his strategy that I was running. He just got caught up in a wreck. And Ryko on the hood, great setup, easy to drive, and that's about it.
All right, Jacob. Well, thanks for your time, brother. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you another time on Grid Vision.
All right, thank you.
All righty, that was Jacob Snyder. Next up, we're going to be talking to Nicholas Vroman, Austin Edstrom, standing by.
Hey, Nick, do we have you?
Yeah, what's up?
Not much, man. Pretty good showing from you today. You won the only A Open that I participated in this week, and I thought you were going to go back-to-back here, especially early on in the race. Can you kind of run us through your race and just kind of, where did it kind of not go wrong? Second place ain't bad, but where do you think you could have been better?
I don't know, man. Briar's a freaking magician. I have no clue how he was staying in the dirty air like that and not burning his stuff up. So I'm not really sure what I could have better. I think maybe being a little bit lower in 1 and 2 especially, to give him a little bit more dirty air would have helped me out. But other than that, man, it's just I have no clue, man. He was on rails here.
Yeah, we had definitely mentioned with him following you in the first stint, he was just kind of peeking his left front under you a lot and able to hold steady behind you. And I was surprised with the dirty air he was able to do that too. But towards the end of the race, you were kind of cutting into his lead a little bit. You got it down to about 7/10, and then he opened it back up by another second. Did you think that you had anything for him there at the end?
Well, my plan was there at the end was I was going to back off. I backed off about a second and a half, I think, on those guys trying to save tire, towards the end if it went green. And I was hoping them two up there, Jacob and what's his name, Briar, would get racing there a little bit harder than what they did when he got side by side. But nah, I don't think I really had anything. Like I said, like he was just on rails. I was kind of hoping for a caution there so I could throw 2 tires on there and just YOLO it at the end, but that didn't come out. So I think it's P2.
Yeah, P2 ain't bad, especially behind Briar. We all know he's crazy fast. So, but do you have any shout-outs that you could give towards the end of this interview here?
Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys in the booth. I'm sure you guys did a hell of a job. It's been a lot of fun going back to watch these races and listen to what you guys got to say. I loved when you all kind of found Joseph at New Hampshire. That was a great time. Shout out to Kim and Ryko Motorsports. These guys, put a lot of work in every single week for this A car, to get the best setup possible out there. And shout out to everybody on track, man. Honestly, it was a really good, fun race. A lot of green flag runs. So overall, good night.
Yeah, surprisingly clean race, like you said, Ryko. I think you and your affiliates had 10 of the top 11 spots, so there wasn't much variety towards the front of the pack. But still, the Ryko cars we had up front gave us a really good show, and so thank you for putting on a good show for us tonight.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, that was Nicholas Roman. Next up, we're gonna have Brian here with Briar LaPrade, the race winner.
Briar, definitely fantastic race. I mean, you started in 26th position. I mean, if you weren't the biggest mover, I don't know what a big mover is. I mean, you just put on a show out there for sure. Drove all the way through the field, and it wasn't like some strategy call got you there. You actually worked your way, picked through the field. I mean, how did you do that? I mean, like Roman even said, you were a magician out there.
I appreciate that from Roman. Yeah, I don't know. Just Richmond's definitely one of my better tracks, I would say. Just being able to wrap the yellow line around here is your biggest thing. But yeah, just shout out to everybody at Ryko Performance, Ken, everybody, Roman, Joseph for getting the work done on this car and making it a rocket ship like it was. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I'd be able to move up through the field as quick. But other than that, it was a really fun race. I was sitting here. There's like 4 minutes to sign up for this race. I was like, might as well, just go in, have fun. No practice or anything to see what I could do. And just ended up having a really fun NIS race. So that was enjoyable.
Yeah, probably one of the best NIS races I've ever seen. I mean, usually you see, just a caution fest, especially at Richmond. But, I mean, it really wasn't that way. I mean, you had long green runs. I mean, we even saw some guys actually do some green flag pit stops. I mean, it seemed like you guys definitely unloaded with a very fast race car. What was the thought process, though, with not qualifying? Was that a voluntary thing, or what was that?
Yeah, just honestly, just didn't want to qualify. Just want to start at the back and just kind of dig through the field and just pace myself because I didn't have any laps of practice on this thing beforehand. So I was just wanting to get a couple laps under my belt and just get comfortable with the car before I started up front and, people that practice and put in time for this. So just want to give myself a little bit of a warm-up and get comfortable with everything before I started up front.
Well, you definitely made your way up to the front, that's for sure. Great job, Briar. Of course, I know you said it was kind of a last-second decision to race this race. Of course, next week's Michigan. Can we expect to see you on Grid Vision next week?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on if Michigan's fun to race or not, I guess. Last year, I don't know if it was that well. I'm not sure, but I know Richmond, it's always a good show as long as you can get green flag racing, which we did tonight. So I'm sure it's fun to watch. But yeah, when the car drives good, you'll probably see me. If it's not driving that good, obviously the Ryko Performance setups, they're driving good, but sometimes it's just iRacing stuff. So yeah, we just, looking for fun, and we had fun tonight.
Well, we definitely had fun watching you, and hopefully we get to see you as well again. And who can we give a shout out to after this big win here in this 200-lap race at Richmond?
Yeah, again, Ryko Performance and all them back at the shop, getting everything ready and putting in time to get this A car set up like a rocket ship. And Ledford Billiard Supply, of course, Cameron Ledford. Make sure to check them out at ledfordbilliardsupply.com. And I see Austin Edstrom's in here. That's a good throwback from my peak days.
Yeah, there might be some bad blood.
No, it's fine. It's
No,
fine.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
That's why I'm interviewing you, not him.
Legendary clip. That's a definite throwback.
Is that
from
still
my
on your Twitch?
Oh, it is.
Oh man, I'm going back to watch that tonight.
Well,
Fun
so
stuff.
I've got one more
down memory
question, if
lane
that's
here.
all right. I've got one more. Nicholas had mentioned, you were just able to wrap the bottom like in the dirty air right up on somebody's bumper and still save tires well compared to the rest of the field. Is there any tricks of the trade you can maybe pass along to a couple of the viewers?
So the thing that I was telling Vroman and Daniel Nanny there, I was saying the biggest thing I noticed is that when I was able to wrap the yellow in the corners, I noticed that there was like about a half a groove of asphalt between their left side tires and the yellow line. So the lower the better here. I think you see on the broadcast here, I'm lower than, I think it's a 12. I don't know who's driving that. But I'm just wrapping the yellow the whole time. So being lower than a car in front of you, that's always the move. Just be patient with throttle, wait for the nose to point, and just keep the left side wrapped around the yellow the whole time.
Awesome. Well, great showing here today. I mean, you kind of spanked the field towards the end, but they gave you a good challenge there as you picked your way through. So thank you for giving us a really good show there.
Yeah, appreciate the broadcast, guys.
Alrighty, that was Brian LaPrade, driver of the 2 machine here tonight. Of course, winner in the NIS. Definitely fantastic performance from him. And of course, big shout out to all the drivers that joined our Discord as well, and the top 3 for joining. And hopefully every week we can have it like that, to where we can actually talk to the top 3 finishers. And hopefully we'll see maybe some new faces next week as well at Michigan. Definitely looking forward to it, because I do believe we have a schedule to look at right quick. Of course, keep in mind, it's not on this schedule, but this Sunday, we're going to be going back to Richmond in the Global Racing Truck Series. They're going to be there in the truck, of course, NASCAR truck. Monday, we are available. If you have possibly a league that you'd like to have covered, definitely reach out to us in the we have on the description a couple links that you can reach out to us at. Of course, Tuesday, Martinsville in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. These guys have been having some really stellar races. Can't wait to see what they do at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, Thunderclap going to be in action at Dover. And, of course, that is the star-studded cast that we are very much proud of. Of course, Ryan Truex. Let's see if we can win at the virtual racetrack. That'll be awesome to see. Of course, Friday, back in NIS competition here, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be at Michigan. And hopefully it's fun. I mean, Briar LaPrade, if he has a good time at Michigan, hopefully we'll see him there. I mean, because he definitely put on a show here tonight. Love to see him and Garrett Baines go after it. Of course, next Sunday, we're going to see the Global Racing Truck Series back in action at Michigan as well at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, with that, I do want to give a big shout-out to my co-host, Austin Edstrom, for doing a fantastic job, man. I tell you, I love calling races with you. You get me excited. You get my blood pumping. Of course, these guys out here get me excited as well. I mean, it was some good racing tonight. I mean, very clean and green. I usually am apprehensive about watching these NIS races, but these guys definitely delivered for sure. Also, big shout out to Austin Darbyshire, of course, co-owner of Grid Vision and also producer, best producer in the business, that's for sure. Of course, shout out to Justin Levine, another co-owner, and Taylor Burris. My name is Brian Britt. Thank you for watching NIS coverage here on Grid Vision. We'll see you next time.